When a loon pretty girl stay to chase me. Minor, tell you things gonna make you catch feelings. Your mere existence, you want left to examine. Ebenezer me gone, me know for squeeze dumpling. Believe woman, sweet like stew pumpkin. See me, but you don't know me. Confident, say that me bossy. Inquisitive, you call me nosy. Defend me rights, holler that me chancy. Me know this show no mercy, we don't take no back chat from nobody. You know have feel like me, but you must respect me. Tell this more. I am a royal coffee. My style sticky like taffy. You coulda holla say me ugly, but alone pretty girl stay to chase me. Me cool and deadly. Machine gun Kelly. Machiavelli. Stay ready like Freddy. We have woman plenty. Woman the city, woman the country. You coulda act like you don't want, believe me. Ask the white, that me bally. I am a royal coffee.
All right. Good evening. It is Wednesday, which means the podcast is on. I am G. Michael Reid from Belize City. I want to forgive me. I got one VN bossing on my eye there. I'm told it's nothing serious. It clears up in a while. Let us hope. I mean, what else can go wrong, right? We are here every Wednesday evening. Our objective is to honestly and fearlessly discuss issues with no sacred cows, no scapegoats, no agenda, personal or political. Just deal with the issues truthfully. Tonight we should have a very interesting show. A couple of issues on the table that needs airing out, needs discussion. We have two gentlemen joining us this evening. One, boy, listen to me. J.A. Spooners. Anybody been around Belize for the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years will know about Spooners. If you're in politics, you will know about Spooners. If you're in a food business, you know about Spooners. In an entertainment business, you know about Spooners. Jeremy, good evening. You hear me?
Good evening, there. Good evening, J. Mike. Good evening, Belize.
Okay.
Right?
I see we're joined also by Gart Nuff Music. Gart, greetings. Welcome to the show, sir.
In the name of His Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie.
A mouthful. You can't say nothing more than that. I'm with you. Gart, things that happen, and I think the reason why I felt we really need to talk about it, and I'm glad you guys joining us this evening, because you're both really at the center of a controversy that should not have been controversial. The media, though, and maybe we could start out by one look at how the media reacts. Now, Gart, you've been, you're from Jamaica, obviously. I mean, you don't hide that. You can't hide that. It's not possible. But, yeah, man. Well, you've seen a difference in the way stories are covered, or is it a Caribbean thing that we are a part of here?
Boy, that question that kind of tricky. It's tricky in the sense that our society in Jamaica is much more sterner. Whilst the society in Belize is just laid back. Them take anything them get. You can't shove anything down their mouth, and that's it.
And they keep quiet.
Yeah, and that's it. But that JA, you can't do that. We're quick for real up.
Yeah. Too quick sometime, I think.
Well, for a few shot bad. It's in our DNA.
Jeremy, how you see that? You any thoughts on that?
Well, Belize is small, so everybody know everybody. If they don't know me, they know of my name or whatever. But I've been on Facebook now that the Trump boy is in power, and I've been watching the comments from either side, and just as bad as we, or we just as bad as them.
Yeah.
People insulting one another, calling people stupid, racist. They don't like homosexuals. They don't like transgender. very insulting. You can't seem to have a viewpoint and try to educate yourself by getting into a debate with what you see posted out there, and immediately they define you as either one Trump or a left winger or a woke or whatever, and they attack you. And I want to learn, so I go on Facebook, and when I see posts, and sometimes I take the side of Trump because I dislike how the other side, the things that they're throwing out, which I don't always agree with, but the insults that get back to me is unbelievable. And so, but I was very surprised concerning what went on since that TV, since Channel 7 put out that news item about Spooners. I must confess, I don't know why that was considered a news item for them, considering all the stuff that's going on in Belize. But they did it anyway. They did not contact Spooners before they put out the story to get Mr. Gott's side of the story of what happened and so on. And then Monday came and it blew out of proportion. The comments were unbelievable. Boycott Spooners, this, that, insensitive, things like that.
It's funny because what happened, I woke up was it Tuesday morning or Monday morning, and a friend called me and said, G Mike, your body in a trouble.
It's that Tuesday morning.
Tuesday morning, and say, boy, your body in a trouble, and the nail upon cross, chase light up. I said, well, you know me. I got a nail, and so I got some nail and a hammer. We are not do not with. Let's put the sandwich up on the cross then. But then you see what I'm saying? I mean, that's the thing to do.
I would have done the same thing too for you, Rasto.
Yeah, all right. So we have to live with that, right? So, but what I'm saying though, when I spoke to the guy, I said, so what are the story? And he started telling me about this retired nurse, which is the narrative that's out there. Yeah. A retired nurse that worked hard in Belize, and now he retire, gone in a Spooners, gonna eat a meal, run up on $48 bill and can't pay, so then arrest him. Now, the amount of people want to pay bill, where things Spooners that just the worst person in the world. And the extension, I guess, got then after later on we realized, but they're not Spooner to this poor lady, that got. Yeah, then we find out that address what you expect from a Jew boy, no? Exactly. So anyway, but God, it turns out did you make a police report? Did you call a police on this lady?
Did not call a police.
So how
did not call the police.
How this thing happened, God?
All right. So make we just clear the air one time. So when after we swiped the card 4 times, the lady said to it, okay, let me go to Belize Bank and get the money. So I said, okay. Ryan said, I will walk with you. Jeremy know Ryan. Ryan is my weekend manager.
Okay. So
Ryan start walk with the lady. When we reach right the taxi, the water taxi.
The old fire station. Yeah.
No man,
the old fire station guy.
The old fire station guy. Yeah. That move a while.
The water taxi right by Swing Bridge. She stopped. And then she starts steer upon the concrete. See, she steer upon the concrete, and I say, so Ryan said, what is girl you steer upon the concrete for? So Ryan I look upon the concrete too. And Gerald I look upon the concrete to say, where she I look upon the concrete?
We don't this so.
See. Same time now, 2 tourist police roll over because I know Ryan, and them all know say a Spooners we're there. So the police come over and say, what happened? And by the time we say we are carrying the lady to Belize Bank for get money, them just look upon her and say, come, long time we want you.
They know the lady.
Of course, because she did the same thing over at Old River. She has done the same thing down the road. Down for North Front. She has done it at many places. See. And them just suck her off, and then them tell Ryan say, tell Miss Ange must come and make a statement. So, my wife walk over there, made a simple statement, and that was it. We didn't know that they were going to lock up the woman over $48.
Did you know at that time she was
No,
mentally unstable?
no, nothing like that.
Because
Listen, the woman is so articulate and
yes,
intellectually
we saw
thought
it.
out.
We saw it on the news.
I'm like, nobody could have figured it out, right?
Yeah.
Is when she going at the police station now, them a laugh after her and say, is that them a laugh after her and say, something wrong with this one, yeah?
Hmm.
See, because this is what she's been doing. Anyway, I cut a long story short, make we think and we go. By the next morning, is in the police van that she a go. And you see the look. When she look back and the photographer catch it, that pity look like one possum when the light catch a headlight and it just freeze.
Mm.
That are the look we sell her to the general public. And that was where the hell start and powder house.
But fellows, they did an interview with the lady, and when I heard the interview, I believe it was seven or one of them,
It was
eh,
Channel
eh,
5. Yeah, Channel
Five.
5.
five, and I'm like, but this lady sung normal.
No,
She
man, she
she
did.
she loved the oxtail.
Yeah.
She described the
The
cheesecake,
the scone, the
the
scone.
scone they call it, no.
Blueberry
Yes.
scone.
And I just say, but this not song like nobody. And then when the news broke about what all this lady done do, not only that Belize, and she talk almost one Belize accent. She was born in Belize, right, Spooner?
Yes,
Yeah,
I
she
believe
left when
she,
she
but
was
she left
two.
when she was 2. Yeah.
Well then, I'm thinking we could send them back to America, but the way Trump they go, Trump named the honor birth citizenship anymore, it seems, no? And he send back everybody.
Mhm.
So he might just decide, well, you know what, and don't got on down, no, better keep on. Um, that what's so interesting to me is I learned that this lady gets 1,500 US a month.
Yeah.
That could buy a lot of oxtail. That's so
That.
how you know got no money, and obviously not paying no lot of rent because well he can't pay rent everywhere you go he burn down the place, no.
Yeah.
So
I don't
Funny
want
you say that,
nobody out there think that, cause Billy is very sensitive about mentally challenged people. But the whole time this gone on, nobody at Spooner's, she never gave the impression that she was mentally challenged. Even
No.
the interview on Channel 5, you never got the sense that she was mentally challenged.
No,
She was
when
quite
we
articulate in her answers. The only thing she never wants to show herself. I
so the
thought her
only
brother was very eloquent. Her brother, I guess he must be traumatized from all the help that he's been trying to give this young lady. But on how I learned about it and how this whole thing started is that a lawyer called me up on Monday morning telling me, Spoonaz, what do you go on? One girl come up to me and tell me that how Spoonaz Cafe, the charger for not pay on bill, and she not got the money to pay the bail. So he knowing me, maybe I'm probably calm enough for tell me, boy, Spoon has dropped this somewhere, but try help out the gal or something. But I
right.
don't know what his motive was. But I told him, I said, sir, I said, I don't know. Are you representing the lady first? He said, no, I'm not, but I'm just trying to help her out. And I said, well, what is the problem? And when he told me, I said, well, I don't know nothing about that. I don't manage Spooners anymore. It's a new management. So I called up Spooners Cafe and I spoke to God's wife, Angie, and then she told me what happened. And the gal blame, she's smart, Make
But
you
they
put
say it. They say
let
it.
me put aside the thing that she's mentally challenged because
Right.
none
Right.
of that was known until later on Tuesday afternoon when the brother stepped in and it was posted all over Facebook about her mental history. But at the time, nobody at Spooners knew that she had any problems mentally, and she came across as being very sharp, and she not it was a con job that she was doing. Let's be real. It was a con job that she was doing. He claimed that because it's an Atlantic Bank credit card reader,
Uh-huh.
she had these problems before with her Belize card. So the manager said, no problem. She said, the lady said, I can go to the ATM and get the cash. So the manager being smart said, no problem.
I'll accompany
And
you.
I'm going to.
That makes sense.
That
Perfect
makes
sense.
sense. And even there, it was shown that there were insufficient funds. But no, you get catch. Oh yeah, get out of this. So on the way back to Spooners, God said before, but I thought it was on the way back.
I'll
They
be
bumped
back.
the tourist police, and they recognized her as somebody who pulled this trick at a couple of other establishments. Police come by, and that's how the whole thing starts. And so we were looked at that with Chancey. Wow. First she was 46, then she was 48, now she's 57. I don't know how the media can't get it right about their information. They always get it wrong. But the objection from a lot of people is that we who own a business, that we Chancey, that this portly old retired nurse come in for get food, he couldn't pay, and then we chance here by charger and send her the jail. That's what
Nurse where? That is the
wow.
question. Nurse where?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
turned out that she was not a nurse,
She never was. She
and she
as
never
a
worked in a Belize.
No, she don't have for she MO for fool Belizean public to get
obviously.
where she want.
Obviously. No,
You know, see it.
that was a good game because how she wind up with 3, 4 credit card because you got more than one, no?
Hold on. The first place, which was Old River, she draw for a discovery card. We not accept discovery card in a Belize. None. The next thing she draw for was a Bank of America card, a red card. Now, Visa and Bank of America have a deal for all them cards to be red or somewhere close to be red. Right? That come back non-sufficient funds, non-sufficient funds. So after a while, them just give up hope and then put her out. She come back again to try pull the same stunt again. She pull another stunt at another place where they allowed her to go and she came back a couple days later. Right?
Yeah.
She had a problem with a lady where she was living. Right? Then she can't pay the lady had to put her out. The
But
brother take her in and she want put the brother out in one house.
this lady, and but let's look at this because I concerned about this bleeding heart approach that we take sometime, and we tend to take the aggressor's side as opposed to the real victim and turn the victim
Exactly.
into the aggressor. You go in on a man place. There are days, God, when I'm sure business aren't as bright as you'd want it to be.
Exactly.
You have to take the lick. You have to
Exactly.
hope to make up a day when you could make it back. So a
I can
person come in and go with that kind of bill, $48.
all right. Watch me now, G. You think I can owe one of my employees them $50
Fair.
because I can't pay?
It wouldn't even be fair. They
All
would not
right.
even want
Do
to
you
hear that.
think? Do you? Let's take it out of context now. Do you think I could have owe Coffee $50?
You think you go owe the tax department fifty
You think
dollars?
you think I can owe anybody $50? No. They
No.
want their money.
And it's fair. I got a market go buy peanuts, pepitos. The man want for him $2. And that and a
Yes.
lot. So you can't say, boy, you must go give the man one. Me brother, if I give everybody will come along one.
This is
And
not the first time that other people have come in there, either shot or don't have enough money. And you don't want to seem like you're not gonna help somebody, oh, them short at $5. Okay, no problem. Them short at $2, them short at $3, them short at shilling, them short at shilling, but you let it run, you let
you
it
know, I be
slide.
so mean. You know, I be so mean.
How
Yeah.
much
But
how much of those can you let slide? At the end of the year, you have racked up over hundreds of dollars.
And God, you got people with got money we play them games for you know.
Exactly.
So how can you tell when a person is sincere or when they run light?
It's impossible.
Yeah, easy. And
You know,
and
cousin G Mike,
uh,
I saw some which I'd like to address too, because they said that how we only target people who look like Belize and we left white people. Anybody that look like white, we not do that to them. That is an absolute lie, because we have had white people come to Fui establishment and try get out of it without pay. And when you catch them, they go, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot, I never know. So we go after anybody.
you
It's
mean
not just to look.
white people scurvy too then?
Oh yes, man.
Of course.
Take me for instance, right, Jew boy?
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Right
hey,
table.
hey, Joe, you have to watch him. Joe, up on the show tonight. Hi, Joe. How to go? Good
Right,
night.
Joe?
Yeah,
Right, Joe?
with the rehash this thing, Joe.
Yeah.
This our matter. You know that the mental health thing too.
Hold on.
Because,
Stop. Stop.
uh,
Stop. Let's
uh,
let, let's finish up with this lady.
okay.
So when the police carrier went to the station, and then we made the report of what happened, and then she in at the back of the police station, and a police officer come around and said, "Boy, this woman are not too right, you know,
Uh,
in a seat, right?" Okay. The next day, now when all of this are going on, and I never see so much $50 bill want pay in my life in a
uh-huh.
Belize.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Everybody want pay $50. Everybody want pay $50.
And the bill, the $500
And the
bill.
$500 bill.
Yeah.
And a police sergeant come check we and say, yo, we need to see you at the police station. By the time we reach at the police station, man them say, you have to do this. By the time we do this, she dep on a bus coming back up to Belize City, a police bus coming back up to Belize City. And I say, what? So it look like the thing come down from up top, come all the way down. You know, see it.
So, God, at the end of the day, you neither file charges nor drop charges. All of this was happening
At the
outside
police
of you.
station. Yes.
Yeah.
But
So,
they never know that charges were being filed.
No,
Remember,
I
the
never
police,
filed none. I never
you
filed no
never filed none. They
charges.
just make a statement.
I just make a statement. I no file no charge.
which you have a
But
right to
but
do.
but but if you know the law and you know the law, G, and you know the law, Spooners, if I drop a case and the state decide to pick it up, the state will pick it up.
Exactly. Exactly. The media
Uh,
sensationalized the incident, they're saying, without verifying information and properly accessing the situation, which is the bottom line here. I saw the story on Ladyville Highlights, and I was disappointed with the brother there, Magdaleno, because he means well. Certainly, he does well. He helps a lot of people and whatnot. But even after the situation with the lady, when he find the lady, 'cause he was telling everybody go and find the lady. He found the lady and did an interview with the lady and showed a picture with the lady, hugged up, looking to me quite normal. And to that point, I am saying, is this lady really, does she really have a problem? Or is she just running a light here, running a scam and fooling everybody? Because she certainly could have raised more money than the Baptist church raised for Bill Back and Bondong Church. You know?
and then look, I think I have a copy of the credit card. I think I had it have it here. I can't find it. It says Ida McDougal. I know I have it here somewhere. Ah, Jesus, I don't know.
Alia McDougal, the card is in her name then, even?
Yes,
But,
yes.
but how does, because apparently this lady has been having problems for years. Not just,
Yeah, no, not
no.
just no.
That what? Many years ago, she was trying to drown her son because the world was coming to an end, and then attempted to drown herself, and then
Then,
burn down 3 or 4 houses.
yep.
Now, when you get to the mental health thing, because again, a lot of people were saying, and I was hoping to get the brother on. I was trying to find the brother who may call and give his input into the thing.
He's probably in the air right now as you speak.
Yeah, and then, but people were saying, I'm on their family, and how you and left her out there like that, how you and put her out. But how far does a person go with a person who does not apparently want to get help. Because at the bottom line, you could help as much as you can,
Exactly.
but if that
Miss,
individual is not receptive to that help,
Mr. Reid, I
sir.
will tell you something. I have lived in the United States for a long, long, long time. And I've seen people like her who is calm, collective, intellectual, the whole 9 yards. And them are the first one back a long knife and stab you up. Them are the first one going back a knife. Cause when them flip, them flip.
But how
You
you
feel me?
how can you identify that, brother?
You can't, because we call them schizophrenias over here. There's the double and the multiple personalities that they have. She has multiple personalities. She needs medication.
But
She needs counseling and medication.
they've been studying this matter for years. We've talked about it for years, all over the social uh, um, intercom or
Media.
whatnot. But they must be able now by now to have figured out how to what they must what flips them, because something will flip a person.
It's a trigger. They all have a trigger. Whatever that trigger is, the mental health department needs to figure out what the trigger is. Every one of these people have a trigger. Some people get triggered by alcohol. Some people get triggered by, believe it or not, sex.
I never noticed what's going on in Belize, that we have a lot of people that are not institutionalized. They're not being taken care of. They let them off on the street. And every
Yes,
6 weeks or when they come around, they give them their
the
injection.
injection.
And there's a really nice guy. His name is Magello. He's next door to us at
Yes,
Spuna's Cafe. Johnny Watser looks after him, give him job, feed him and all of that, give him a place to live on the location. He's nice as anything. He help out all the way. About a few months ago, it looked like they never gone around and give people injection. That body turned like that. He start fight everybody on the street.
everybody get fight.
Yeah, it cost my ass out. It cost me out. I said,
Cuss me out
Magello,
too.
and this as spooners. What you go on with your coffee every day? We get something to eat. And he just cuss me out, cuss out everybody, fight the doctors who are giving the injection. When they gave him the injection, bim,
Calm right down.
Normal.
calm right down. Calm right down.
That is what you call schizophrenia.
But
You feel me?
to their credit, apparently the authorities are trying to deal with it, because they do go around, like you say, and get injections and whatnot. But have you seen an increase in people like that on the streets, or are they handling it?
I
Um,
see.
about uh, about um about before I gave over the place to Garth, I noticed an increase of people. They were starting to come into my place, and they were filthy. They were aggressive. They want to fight you. You tell them, please, I'll get you something to eat. Wait outside. They don't want to wait outside. They start harass the patrons inside the cafe. You don't know what to do. I never called the police. I tried to handle it myself. You get them food, and you tell them, please wait outside and give you the food. Then wait outside, but then put their foot in at the door so you can't lock the door. And then when you get in the food and a bottle of water, and they cost you, they want a Coke. And so you go to another
Yes,
level.
yes.
You know
Yes, but
what?
they kindly get rid of them. But
Let me,
but
let-
what's
One crazy
worrisome is
one.
that if you do this for them, they start come every day and they
yeah,
are
yeah.
aggressive.
That one,
They're
Exactly.
aggressive.
yeah.
One crazy
Damn it,
one.
damn if you do
One
it, damn if you don't.
Yeah, yeah.
one crazy one. She come in there and say, "Give me one iced coffee."
Uh,
So my manager looked at her and said, "Give you one iced coffee. If you ask better, you'll get the iced coffee." Blam and slam the door now. So I open the door. So I open and I say, and I say, you should have broke the glass. I know. I'd show you what and we
uh.
leave it at that.
But
See,
sometimes just something like that can tell you whether they're seriously deranged or not,
they
because
are.
they no, but some of them are playing the fool. I'm
That's
telling you. I'm convinced that some of these people, and let's address some of the comments here, because DJ was asking how was she allowed to stay in Belize even after being involved in dashing and multiple incidents of arson. Because she what was here about a year, it seems, But
They said April. She came in April.
but she's a Belizean also. So this we have to look at because she was born in Belize. She's a naturalized American citizen. And again, that brings
Public
into
record.
effect one kind of sticky situation because again, Trump is not too accepting right now of people, even
Ooh, the
those
metro.
who have become naturalized citizens. He want he didn't send everybody. So and which we got one we got a number of deportees coming in. You guys foresee any problems when these deportees come in? I understand that they're in flight.
Oh, yeah, I never knew about that. How many of them coming in?
I think about 57. The same amount when they bring South Africans where they took to America. No? So maybe they try make room for them one day.
What kind of records do these deportees have? Any murderers? Any gang
Your
members?
your Joe might be able to answer that. Can know he keep track of matters like that. I don't know.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
Because it was the deportees that brought the Crips and the Bloods to Belize, right?
Well,
Huh?
we I don't know. I don't know if they're the same crowd.
I
But
just wanted to ask if you're shifting the topic. I wanted to comment on the topic.
go there, man.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, the reason why is that the issue of the many mentally challenged persons in the society and the high risk of they being violent towards citizens is a matter that has been with us for many, many years. And let me go back to where it started in a place of where we used to call Crazy House. Remember the one who was at the barracks?
Yes.
All right. In those years, of course, that's where we house or home of our people who are mentally challenged. And you had a guy there, Mason Brown.
Yes.
Yes.
And Mason Brown became the talk of the town
He never looked too correct neither.
because his conduct evidently was one that he feel like if he behave like them, that's the best chance he have of helping them.
The real savior is on the screen, by the way. There you go. See view.
There you see him there. He don't look like a madman.
So that's the building right there. They did a movie right at that place there. Remember
Right. Dogs of war. Go,
No,
go
they-
back.
That's a war.
Go back to the Amonka at that crowd. Yeah, where Mason Brown
Yeah,
day.
The middle one, the white man with the beard.
Ah,
That's
that man he used to wear necktie. Oh, there you go without shirt.
Like,
Yeah.
He don't look correct. He look correct to you?
He me crazy for standing. But you have to you have to be something have to wrong with you for deal with people like that.
I know
You,
that. Yeah.
you either have to be like that for deal with them or get like that after you deal with them. It can't be easy, boy.
No.
and then the government, the health authority, come to realize that that place was not a place for people who you want to be able to not necessarily rehabilitate because sometimes they just can't. But it's more to find a place for them where they can find some peace and happiness in socializing among themselves. So the idea came up, let's go now to Rockview.
Right.
And they built one there, which I thought was very spacious. They wanted more space because this old safety was a wall. These people was incarcerated, like was a heavy wall. Remember, a high wall.
Yeah.
And the
But
whole
some of,
Sounds.
but
Yeah,
some of
yeah.
them need to be. Some of them need to be. Don't you
well,
think?
no, I don't agree with that.
Okay.
No, I think you're becoming inhumane because these people are not what they are because of what they want to be. So
But,
let's
how far do you go to defend, protect the welfare of the citizens, the ordinarily law-abiding, productive citizens of our country? How far can you go or should go?
you should go as far as it is necessary to ensure that those who are mentally challenged
Right.
put in an environment
Uh-huh.
where they will not violate others' rights.
Uh-huh.
But at the same time, they have rights, and we cannot violate their rights either. And not because they are mentally insane, as we would want to say of them.
I hear you, and that's a wonderfully political correct view.
It's not political.
Go there, go there.
No, it's not political. It is humane. It's about humans. It's not politics. So the suggestion did come that the people will be able to live a better life if we take them into a place where there is more space for them. And they moved them to the Rockview.
And what happened then?
Rockview was an improved place, no doubt, to where they were before. Of course, some of them left and they walked the road and several things happened. And then the Japanese somehow decided to assist Belize. and they decided they will open something in Belmopan, right in the outskirts.
Mm-hmm.
And no doubt that was the best idea that came up. It was a place indeed, and I'm thinking it is still around, it's still there. So when listening to what you all were talking about, this particular person, who apparently, given her state of mind, was becoming a problem to the food vendor.
But no, Joe, no. That's not correct. Um, this person, obviously, you can't say giving her state of mind because it wasn't exposed at the point where all this was happening. She was not. She has done a good job of masking it, and then somehow getting away with move. And then it's only afterwards people find out what has been going on when they look at her history. But dealing with her straight up, listening to the interview. Did you hear the interview on Channel 5?
Right.
Yeah, but I'm
No,
not.
no, no. Did you hear the interview?
No, I didn't. But I'm not
Okay.
challenging you on what you are saying. I just want to hear from you now whether the person has been diagnosed as mentally challenged. Has she been diagnosed as such?
Only
I'm
from
sure
her
she
brother. Her
has.
brother is the only
So what
one
I'm
that can
saying
say.
then, what I'm saying, if she has, it's a fact that people like those, when left to move around, can in fact be harmful to innocent citizens. So the idea of having those people being able to put in a place where their human rights will not be violated, but where they will not be violating other people's human rights. And therefore, the idea came up to do this thing in Belmopan in an outskirts, a big area. And that is where they were supposed to go. Now, as usual, the whole saying, you have a good system, you put bad people in it, it fails. You have a bad system and you put good people, it succeed. So we ended up with a good system, but perhaps we never had good people to continue with it. Therefore, to me, the concern must be indeed that these people, when is conduct, you see, we have to accept that they know what you call professional mendicants who disguise themselves and purport to have some kind of need, and they are very good because they bring things from doctors with sign, and they go around, and this is how they earn their living. Now we have to discern, and I think the gentleman said it. The gentleman said it. He said you can't tell the difference. You can't tell the difference between a professional mendicant who is seeking to benefit from your compassion by bringing a story to you which is not true. And then you need to discern between these people who are mentally challenged, who come to you this way. And like the gentleman said, it's difficult to discern the difference at times.
Let us look at the response though that we got from the community. Because poor Spooner take a licking. The man who owned his pine veranda, don't know where to go on, and he turned out to be the bad guy here. But it seems that people are saying then this poor retired nurse, number one, they gave the whole reporting was erroneous, and I didn't see an attempt even later after the facts were revealed for it to be corrected. And this is why I think it's important for us to discuss it here with the two primary principals, and the only one Adam Awan got again, that her brother who can testify to the situation and the things that she had been doing. But it seems like everybody was willing to say, let her go because they're only $50, $48, as opposed to saying, wait a minute, we can't uphold that kind of fraudulence, then kind of deceive. And when she get and say, oh, then charge me with deceiving an establishment or something, and you that think that the worst thing that happened, you think at the land. No,
Laundry money, yeah.
but
Launder money.
it's not going to do that. It
Right.
is that you were being fraudulent.
The point to be made here, though, Mr. Chairman, I happen to know Mr. Spooner for many, many years. And it's strange in a society where the press become, I must say, irresponsible in giving out information that is not true.
Right.
Then we have Belizean citizens, and I'm talking quite frank about us,
Mhm.
but maybe gullible enough that we always want to hear the bad sides, and that is what we run with.
Exactly.
And it is very bad for a man like Mr. Spooner, or for whatever enterprise it is. Then they begin to take that story and then dramatize it and then develop on it. And the next thing you know, that the victim becomes the culprit.
Yeah, we discussed that initially because yes, indeed, the media, I think, that the culprit here because they need to investigate first. When the guy called me, the first thing I did, and DJ is saying the media should be held accountable for not getting the facts straight. I agree. The false and sensational reporting could have hurt the business. I think, though, that this will have a reverse effect. I think God going to sell a lot of oxtail as a consequence of that.
Don't they sell oxtail? I say
They
oxtail I
sell lot
sell.
today. Lot today.
Lot of
everybody,
oxtail.
everybody want because and a funny thing, oxtail we never I didn't grow up as a oxtail was not stable in the Belizean diet growing up, but certainly after we became established the kind of recognize our ties with Jamaica and Jamaicans start coming, oxtail did come into the diet and we love it. So we look forward to it. I am happy to know where I can find one right now.
Yes. But you know something, people complain about the price, why oxtail so expensive. They have to realize that cow only come with one tail. All right, you only get so much for one tail.
The cow food
It's
cheaper.
cheap, and it's not cheap.
A
Cow
food
food
for the cow have.
Yeah, it's like $20 a pound almost.
Hey, some of
Yeah.
them they come up without tail. None of all of them got tail.
Yeah.
But and I want delicacy that's something I will like. Um, but the whole matter though of this lady and Belizeans jumping emotional. We get emotional. This is something where we want to be a part of. And again, the amount of people when we want to pay this lady $50 and the
Yes.
$500 bill, I'm saying nobody said, wait a minute though, this lady was not right. Suppose she was not mentally challenged. Suppose she was indeed a retired nurse. Don't you think a retired nurse would have managed their money enough to have a leave something for buy one plate of food? And if you can't afford a plate of oxtail, then buy one leaf fish burger or chicken burger. If listen, I don't want to get them boy too much promotion, but Chow Sang sell me one chicken burger for $7. Go buy that. You can't. If I not got oxtail money, how I go order oxtail? And obviously she knows she not got money on those cards. You want to try
Have to.
paying for it? You are defrauding
Yeah.
the business out of
You
the
know,
money.
you know how much beer you have to sell for get back that $50? You have to sell 25. 25 beers for get back that
Yep.
money you lost.
When you talk about get back your money plus your profit, no?
Yes. Yeah. No, yeah.
Just a break even.
Yeah, yeah. But again, too, I think we jumped on the wrong side of that, and we need to look at that carefully because we like to do that. Let us look at the right and wrong of it. The right, for me, this lady was totally wrong if she was in her right state of mind.
Why do we
Even,
always on GMAC? Why do we always protect the criminals? Why
but
don't we
that's it. That's
why
it.
you
Because
always against the victims? Why?
I see it
You know?
happening, and I want to get to that next part there, eventually. But I want to spend the
Okay.
first part of the
Okay.
show dealing with this totally. But we have to look
Right.
at that carefully also.
Can I
Um,
ask Mr. Spooner a question? Sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah,
You
man.
said something just now about why are we in Canada something to protect the criminals.
Yes, sir.
But how you arrive at these people being criminals? Have they been
I'm
before?
talking about in my situation when I see things on Facebook, they're always about the rights when you hear somebody get killed or something like this, or they lock up and so on, and that chanting is how they lock up and things like that. I always see that it's the victims, the lawyers always seem to be concerned about. Poor victim
Joe,
get killed, murdered, hurt, and so on. Nobody talk about the victim. It's
Joe,
always about the criminal.
you don't think any of these people are criminals, Joe?
Well, it depends on how you want to make a determination.
Wait a minute, wait a minute, the Prime Minister. They're either, if they commit crimes, aren't they criminals?
Mr. Chairman,
And should not that be condemned?
bear with me. If you commit a crime and you are convicted in a court of law, You can be.
So if you commit a crime and are not convicted, you're not a criminal.
Well, of course not.
Legally, you're not a criminal, but you're a criminal because you did commit crime.
No, you cannot make a person a criminal by you saying he's a criminal.
No, but by them doing the crime, they becomes a criminal.
No, but what you want to do with a citizen is the same thing we want to protect these gentlemen against. Because the press made it out as if though they were the problems, that they were the.
We were cast as the.
So to me, we have to proceed on the basis of the rule of law.
Uh-huh.
And if you make a judgment of a person being a criminal, and you have no evidence before,
But there's no judgment. I am saying if a person commits a crime, many times they'll get away with it, but the crime is still committed. That person is still a criminal. You have not taken them through the due process, but they have committed the crime.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
In a society where we are accepting, we are governed by the rule of law, it's not for you, nor the police, nor the DPP to make that judgment. That is a judgment to be made in court.
What you calling it a judgment? Me not pronounce no judgment. Let's say our good friend and former co-host Gregory Morrison has something to say. He thinks the lady was not mentally stable. You are not sure if she knew that there was no funds on the card she presented.
Scam. No, it was a scam. She knew exactly. To me personally, she knew exactly
she
what
did
she
it before.
You don't have to be mentally challenged to pull on a scam like that.
She
there are
did.
many people who don't have no challenges that do that all the time. That
Yes.
So no, I don't. It's only afterwards that we say, oh well, she's got this mental problem because of all the other things she's done. But she doesn't have to have a mentally challenged mind to do what she tried to do at Spooner's or what she tried to do at the other establishment.
Yeah, because God verified this also, that the other business she dined, she also ordered the most expensive things on the menu.
That's how she move.
Sound like you know what she's doing. To me, those weren't moments where she was deranged. I mean, there might be moments indeed when she does get, obviously from what she has been doing, that she did it.
But don't you think?
Remember what she say, you know?
Sorry.
My $24 US bill. She not stupid.
She know exactly conversion.
So to me, Mr. Chairman, I knew the gentleman, Mr. Spooner, and I assume that the other gentlemen are both gentlemen who are in fact making statements based on the facts that they experience. So now we are making an assumption that based on the two gentlemen experience, is that this person is not necessarily a mentally challenged person.
No, nobody's saying that. No. We're not saying, nobody's saying that.
I'm trying to get a clarity from what Mr. Greg
Yeah, but you can't get clarity by bringing erroneous suppositions.
No, I'm saying to you, like I repeat it. Based on the two gentlemen here.
Right.
How do you characterize that person? As a person who is having a mental problem, as a person who is a professional?
But Joe, we're not assessing this person based upon her history and how she is. We're assessing this matter based on the situation that occurred that these two gentlemen know about, that involves them. That matter where she went in and produced a card like any ordinary person would, and even said the card not work by our machine, but if I got a Belize bank, it could work on their machine. The plan was to come out of there and go boy business and forget it. Being smart, the business people now decide, hold on, we're going with you. We don't want you have to walk back here after you get the money. You could just give me the money and go by your business. Exactly. So based on that, obviously she knew what she was doing at that point in time.
That's all I was asking.
Right.
Is that the two gentlemen who was there, who understand clearly her course of conduct?
These two gentlemen weren't there. Spooner was at home. Spooner retired. Poor Spooner just get dragged into it And I know I wonder if that guy white car they don't we know how much the white man done the we too know. You don't know, we
Yeah,
know.
Help now the game
we don't got no black man out there called Spooner. So
Yeah,
Spooner never had none of them. You ever see a black man named Spooner?
But ask
God, big up, no man. God.
Mr. Spooner the question.
Listen, we're not going there
Classic.
tonight, Jeremy.
Yeah, thank
Okay,
you.
we're not going there tonight.
Ca-
Let's
ca-
follow up.
No.
I tried to get into the conversation. Mr.
Yes.
Spooner, what is your opinion about this lady?
My opinion?
Was she mentally, was she a sick person, or is it that she just a...
The only evidence I have that she's a sick person is from her brother. From her, how she went to Spooner's, how she's gone to other places with her criminal activity. That doesn't tell me that she's a criminal. She's not mentally challenged.
Good.
It's
So in
only
your opinion,
afterwards when we heard that she
Gotcha.
tried to kill herself, he tried
Gotcha.
to kill a little boy and things like that. Then I have to say, yes, something not correct with this lady. But for what she did at Spooner's and other establishment, I'm saying that mentally challenged does not have nothing to do with that.
right. And the other gentleman, what was your...
Well, this is how I see it. When she stood there and stared at the ground for 5 minutes, you would think a person in their right mind would not sit there and stare at the ground for 5 minutes, right? But somewhere in that 5 minute stance there was a trigger that triggered her. And then that's when she started breaking down into, into becoming the crazy person that she is, right?
What did
And
she
when
do?
she
Kat?
went-
I never hear that. What did
She stood there right at the water taxi
Yeah.
and looked down on the ground for 5 minutes. She just staring on the ground,
But you
And-
said she deteriorated after that. What deteriorated? how?
meaning that when she went to the police station,
Okay.
the police, and she went into the back, and then she realized what has happened to her. She's
Okay.
now inside the police station,
Okay.
going to be charged for something. That's when whatever chemicals in her brain was released that triggered the different personalities and all of that is what.
But see, I don't want to lose track of this. Hold on, Joe. Don't lose track.
I thought
Don't
finish
hold,
it.
hold on. Don't lose track of this fact that most people who were responding and offering to pay the money and offering to pay the bill were not aware that she was mentally challenged
No.
either at that
No.
point. They were willing to pay it because they thought the establishment was being mean by not
Yes.
giving her a break for the $48 food that she ate.
Well,
I think that we have to look at ourselves at that and wonder if we aren't too willing to support wrongdoing, because that would have been wrongdoing.
Mr. Chairman, I think we are missing a very substantive point. Mr. Spooner is of the opinion that she did what she did not out of having mental problem. It's a part of her scheme of just stealing people. Now, the other gentleman here seems to be saying to me that he believes that he has a mental problem. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, hold on, might I ask him? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
God,
We
Based upon what?
Yes.
no, Mr. Chairman, we need to understand what.
No, you need to understand, Joe. Hold on.
Hold on too much.
God, did you know while she was getting the food that she was mentally unstable? It was
No.
after she left to go for the money and reached by the water taxi and start staring at the ground that you recognize there must be something wrong with this lady,
Must be
correct?
something wrong.
So at that point, do you get it, Joe?
Yes,
Yeah, but even a normal person, when they get catch, they bow their head.
That too.
Mr.
That's a good point.
I am not asking the gentleman at what point did he come to the conclusion. I'm only saying that based on his knowledge of the person and what happened, that he believes that the person is in fact a person that is mentally challenged. That's what I'm saying. That's what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
but all right. So why? What does that lead to? What is your next point?
Let me tell you what it leads to.
Uh-huh.
Two persons, one believing that the person is not mentally challenged, the other
No,
believes.
But that's not true, Joe.
That's
You're
not true,
you're
Joe.
misrepresenting the
You're
facts.
saying that that's what I think. No, that is wrong.
What
I
is it
learned
that you
about
told
her
me?
mental situation after the fact. Just like
Right.
everything
All of
about
us
the
know.
world.
All of us know that.
Did you came at one point? Did you come to a conclusion or from an understanding that she is mentally challenged? That's what.
Who
Listen,
you talking to?
listen,
Yeah.
listen, Mr. Joe,
Yes, man.
listen, Mr. Joe.
Yes.
So when all of this bashing is going on, right? A policeman come into the cafe and said to my wife, you need to come to the station. Right? It is coming from the higher heads. Why? They're trying to wash their hands clean of any wrongdoing by locking up this lady. And if there's anything mentally wrong with her, they don't want the responsibility of it. By the time my wife reached there and to do the statement, she was already released from Hattieville. You know? So
I just wanted to get
there's just a bunch of factors in here.
yeah.
There's a bunch of factors in here that we will never figure out about her unless she get professional evaluation. We don't know what the police was thinking because no one is saying anything. I know what my people saw, and I made my assumption out of all of this. And there's nothing at this point we can do. We already get the backlash. We put out some other information for straighten up the backlash. It kind of curve it back around and straighten it up a little bit. And we get a little bit of traction out of it. And you know what? I just get thanks say it could have been worse.
Yeah.
It could
Yeah.
have been worse. So
But you know
at
that.
this point, wait, hold on. At this point, where Uncle Joe they try figure out and go through and dig where he need for dig because he needs to get an understanding of it because he wasn't there. He's just seeing and getting it. Mr. Reid is already invested in doing this thing. And Mr. Jeremy, don't take lick. You know, see, so what we need to say is what are we going to do for people like these? How are we going to help them? How are we going to make this a situation that doesn't happen again? Whether or not she's a criminal or whether or not she's crazy. If she's a criminal, lock her ass up.
Let
If she's
me.
crazy, give her help.
Yeah. Let
You
me
know,
clear
can I
this up
just say
again.
something? We a lot of times you
I
could
like
tell
your point.
people.
Sorry.
You,
I
you
like
have
your
a lot
point.
of people that come
Right.
into the cafe that you can't tell they got
No.
any problems, and there's some people that you could know right away they're not
But,
trouble.
but
And we had a
Gregory,
situation where a guy used to come all the time, no get no trouble, get elite coffee and so on. One day he came with a bag, he ordered something, people next to him ordered something, they got served first because what they ordered didn't take long, what he ordered took long. You know, he started go off all after them people, he started to rant and rave at them. They came to us and they said, Mr. Spooners, the man go and axe in a bag, he haul it out and so on, right? We had to get him out of there. We approached him very gradually. I never called police. I probably should have called police. We got him out. When he get out there, he start holler up on the street. Spooner down on racist. He don't like black people. He chases black man out of the place and so on. That are what sometimes we have to deal with. So this guy used to come in, no trouble at all. All of a sudden one day, he end up dead. He neighbor somebody kill her. He got
none about you.
kill her.
No, you.
No me.
All right. All right. All right. All right.
But they're out there. Some look like they're crazy. We know they're crazy. Other ones out there we don't. I don't
for
want
the-
to say the word crazy because nowadays that is not politically.
All right. All right. Spooner, for the sake of Greg, who's asking
Yeah.
who insisted on pressing charges for apparent fraud,
The
we have
police.
made it quite clear already that, Guard, you did not press charge, right?
No, the police.
And you had nothing to do with even dropping of the charge. You were just told that you have to come in and sign on paper for say the charges drop. So
And that's it.
you were made to sign the paper for say the lady did what she did, and then after that to say that you drop the charge, which you did willingly, of course,
Yeah.
correct? There was
Of course,
no.
Hey, you
had
got
no-
a new commissioner on board. He getting bad flack because the police they get to go in and lock up this poor lady. The magistrate they get flack because why
Yes,
she's not
because the
following the law.
magistrate could have given the girl, the older man time.
Now,
The magistrate could have used her discretion and said, okay, then I give you 5 days to come back with the money.
all
You know,
right,
see.
there were people now that casting when the aspersion started going wrong. First time is Spooners. Then the guard, when they find out said a new management that it came to be the establishment. Then there were the police.
Mm-hmm.
Then the courts, because they said the courts, the magistrate, the bill too high, why charge $500 for something
Only
For
some,
$48.
$50.
for $50. But at the end of the day, if you have a crime being committed, there's a certain figure that I don't think the magistrate has much a discretion on that. But the point is, though, that what, Joe, do you think about the fact of the $50 and the lady going? Say the lady was not mentally challenged. Say the lady was indeed a retired nurse. How would you see that situation with the lady going in and ordering food that she cannot afford and not paying it? Should she have been?
Then she's a criminal.
Because there are only two ways you could deal with that: beat it out, huh? And that's not advised, or take it to court, which is
Exactly.
the prescribed course of action. Um, why then do people get up in arms because this lady was being taken to court? Was she not, in fact, breaking the law? Oh, hold on. I realize for the saying a crime must have intention. A declined card is not a crime, it is a civil matter. Now, if you have a card that you know you have no money, are you
Exactly.
not defrauding somebody out of money that's rightfully theirs? Are you not trying to chisel a free meal out of an establishment? But Joe, let's go back to that. Joe, how do you view that? What should be the course of action?
Well, I'm trying to. When she said crime, remember in the law, you have what you call the misdemeanors and you have what you call the felonies. Evidently, the court has its threshold, what will be considered just civil misdemeanors, which go before the magistrate courts. And then when it is a higher level, that's when it is characterized as a crime because it goes before then the higher court. And I'd like to make some observations about the issue of one, the question asked who was pressing the charge for the fraud,
Right.
assuming that somebody was pressing the charge. So I don't know if that question was answered.
Just like I said earlier in the podcast, Uncle Joe, is that
CP Joe.
when we went in and did the statement and walked out, right? All they asked us was for a statement, you know. They never said to we were pressing charges or whatever. Is the state pick up the charges? The state. Remember, you know, if I go in a thing and tell me, say, listen, we're not pressing no charges. If the state feel like press the charges based on the crime that was done, and they think that this person who did that crime deserve to be prosecuted, the state is going to pick it up. Remember, say the state have a meet for them quota of prosecution of prosecuting people, you know.
Now the state cannot insist on for the state cannot pursue a charge where the complainant has withdrawn. The
All
state cannot.
right. So when we
The state can't do this.
withdraw, when we withdraw, when we said to them, say, okay, we're going to withdraw the what you call it, the charges,
Charges. Yeah.
you know. Oh, she done Ghana Hattieville already. And I'm saying to myself, how she gonna Hattieville and we no personal charges? No, we have to go. No, we have to go back at the yes, go back at the Queen Street. Go deal with this again. The law is not clear, and the policemen who who enforce the laws don't have the proper training to say, yo. This is what the law is. Because John Tam going to tell me this. G. Michael Reid going to tell me this.
Uh,
Spooner's going to tell me that three different interpretation of the law. Which one do I take?
the law is not clear and the policeman is not clear about the unclear law. So we got one problem.
You have a problem.
Obviously.
Yeah.
But
I don't think we have a problem with the law itself. I think we have a problem with maybe us interpreting it. For example, if you make a complaint and it's a misdemeanor and you decide you will withdraw the complaint, the police cannot pursue it. No, if there is belief to believe that not belief, a person was killed. The proof is there that the person was killed. The police has a right to investigate whether the person was murdered than that. No, you cannot withdraw that. You cannot. If you're not the one way gone and report that you found the person dead, whether you withdraw what you said or not, it doesn't matter. There are certain crimes when committed, the police must pursue. No, there are when complaints are being made in misdemeanors. Evidently, the police will not pursue it if you withdraw it.
Why wasn't this misdemeanor uphold?
Well, let me come back to that because I wanted to, if the chairman allow me to. What is happening to us? There are so many people right now in this society that goes about every day trying to con somebody else. They take all kind of papers, they come with all kind of lies. Now, that in itself is an offense to the law. People come and they piss alongside our public building, our open area. That's an offense. We drop a piece of banana skin on the street. That's an offense. The problem that is facing us, we break the first glass of this building with so many glass windows. Nobody did nothing about it.
You get there now.
No, I am saying to you that I listened and I heard about it from the press and I heard about it through G-Mike. And I gave some thought to it. And the matter to me is an issue that we should discuss. Except that maybe I am putting it in a higher context. Because these kind of misdemeanors, let's call them misdemeanors. It's the misdemeanors when you do not correct them. It is when they begin to commit the crime.
All right, see that the one angle. That the one angle, right? But two people.
Look if there's a hole.
Aria and Philip Johnson talking about the credit card. That sometimes the bank decline your card and you might have money. PGA saying he got lots of money in there and it still decline sometimes. Aria is saying the crime must have intention. The decline card is not. This is not about the card and the declining of the card. The fact that this lady has done that on several occasions in several different places. Obviously, this is not about the card. This is about an intent to defraud businesses out of their money. That is a crime, and you could either pursue two courses. I could beat it out of you and make sure you take away I got for my money, because for me money I have a right to do that, or I could take it to the court and have the law handle it. Which is the preferred course of action? That's all I'm asking.
The preferred course of action is that if an individual is known to be doing these things habitually, I believe that the police should intervene, report should be made, and the person should be dealt with.
But that's it. That is what happened, and that's the bottom line. So that is what people were upset about, because that is small amount they're saying, which is $50, which is not a small amount. If you make Ghani and get one piece of one sandwich for like $5-6, that's a small amount. But you Ghani and order, sit down, eat. Not only eat, drink, and had dessert. Because
chocolate moccasin.
Chocolate moccasin, you see it? A chocolate moccasin.
Mr. Chairman.
Sir.
If a person steals $10,000 and another person steals $100, no. If the evidence is there, both of them were wrong. The only difference will be perhaps in the penalty. So to me, if the person did it for $5, it was wrong. Because
What are you saying? What are you saying?
I am saying that when you mentioned just now that if it was a small amount, perhaps it could have been overlooked. We must not overlook, because
Anything.
it's a principle we must uphold. That if
You
you can,
And
you meaner than what these people are objecting to.
no, it's not being mean now.
You rough.
It is trying to create a civil society where we can live with each other.
No.
And
No.
all I'm saying to you, Mr. Chairman, I've been saying this for the many years I've been in public life myself, is that when we allow that child to begin to throw banana skin and the mother and the parents leave her,
Right.
we begin to allow the person to piss against the
It's a slippery slope. A slippery slope.
I am saying that there was a time in my life growing up, and yes, the coincidence or the irony is been happening in the colonial period, which I was opposed to colonialism. I fought for the decolonization of this country. But during that period, we could not do that. You do not dare drop a banana skin on the street. You do not piss in public, because they will deal with you. Now, the lessons to be learned from what these gentlemen experience is that we seems to want to make pronouncements, and we do not even understand sometimes what are the facts. We don't make the effort to find the facts. So sometimes you libel somebody based on what somebody else said about her, and then you go and you repeat it. But the important thing, gentlemen, is that we have to be a society governed by the rule of law. We cannot say when it's a petty offense, it must be left.
All right. So then maybe the public needs to hear that, because the idea was nobody knew that the lady was mentally challenged when the story initially broke. It was not mentioned on Ladyville Highlights when they did the story, because I saw it. The story came out that a retired nurse who spent her life working in Belize was denied, was taken to jail because she was not able to pay her bill. That is not what happened, and that's why we're here tonight trying to straighten this matter out. Let's see what Philip Johnson is. I think that the crux of the matter is that no one knew that this individual was mentally unstable. That is correct. After the facts were revealed about her and also concerning her situation, everybody became aware of that. But that is not what people were objecting to. Not the treatment of a mentally unstable person.
Unfortunately, the horse had already gone through the gate.
Correct. Now, something like...
Just a quick thing, because people asking what was she charged for. She was charged for obtaining services by deception.
Which is what happened.
Yeah.
Basically what happened, because she turned out that she would have known that the card had no funds.
She knew exactly she had no money in it.
But here's something though, because what else came to light is that she gets $1,500 US per month. Yeah. Now, that is no little money. There are many people who don't make half of that and don't go in restaurants or in food they cannot pay. What is she doing with the money? I mean, is somebody stealing her money? Because that is where the state now could step in and see for the protection of this lady. Let us see what is happening to her money, if indeed she's making getting this money. You see my point? So there are many aspects of this case that needs to be looked into, and the court, the society can do more. I think the big problem we have here, though, is that something like this, if unchecked, if unexplained, if we don't air it out, then it could hurt the reputation of, say, a man like Garth. Because Garth is there providing a service. I mean, it's not cheap. You have to pay your rent, Spooners. You have to buy. Yeah. You have to buy. We know that. You have to buy goods for the next day. You have to go to market. You have to pay a cook. You have to pay people that work in there. He have to pay light and water and everything. So how are we can we expect a man to make a profit if he going just overlook everything like that?
Every day is not a good day. Some days you don't make enough to cover your costs.
Exactly.
Look at I'll pay you next week because it's a bad week.
They don't want to hear that.
They don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
You know?
So I think that at the end of the day, that's where we stand. Joe, any questions? Any more questions as to this?
No, I take it that I think you have maybe exhausted in the sense that here was a woman which in the beginning was not known to
Bag.
be what they found out after.
Uh,
And in the process, I think these two gentlemen may have become the
I'm a bag.
victims. The victims of the carelessness of the press,
Mhm.
the victim of the gullibility of some of us, because they made it look out that these two were the problems. That these two gentlemen were the people who were so unfair and so lack of empathy and compassion.
yeah.
And
Parallel.
Uh,
can I just say something? We tend to in Belize forgive. We always want to forgive
That's
and
right.
right.
find some way for excuse. And let me tell you something. During the fishing season, some fishermen came through the lot next to me, and they had like 4 big ice box full of conchs and lobster. Apparently, two officers from fisheries were walking by just by coincidence, asked to look inside. They found them with all undersized conchs, and also I think lobster was out of season at the time, and they found undersized out of season lobster. One crowd get around and said, "Lord, on a chance the poor people in, and they try and make one living and so on." Then gone off on the officers. You know what the officers do? They stop what they're doing and they walk in and left the people and the people back with the thing. Is that right or wrong? Huh? Is that what the defense? Huh?
Absolutely wrong. Absolutely wrong.
You know,
I
I see
mean,
a lot of things out on that Northfront Street. I've never believed how rough people live, but also I live out there for 30 years, and I've been on street level, and I see how Belizean live, but I also see how law and all is looked at differently for different people. And a lot of time they want to forgive the poor people because they said they're poor and they need to live, but they're breaking the law, and that's how I see it. You know,
and the principle,
Sorry.
it's about the principle too.
yeah.
Yeah, and I'd like to make a comment on what these people did to intimidate the police into walking away from crime that appeared to have been committed with undersized marine product.
The crowd intimidate them,
Right.
make them feel guilty.
So I was reading these two judgments, as the chairman is aware of, the judgment in the SOE case.
No, we're going to that directly. I want Garth and Spooners hang around.
I
Something,
can't. I have to go. Remember, I fly tomorrow.
Bash, brother. Bye. Look at Garth. Thanks a lot. You anything else you want to say before you go?
Nah,
Yeah.
man, I good
I
man.
have to lose my
No,
Just
and
thanks for
God,
the,
don't
just
forget the
thanks for
sex
the.
toys. Don't forget me sex toys there, all right?
Hey, God. Forget that. I went when days you got oxtail, brother. Because this lady say as
So
soon as it come out.
tomorrow, Friday, Saturday.
All right, the guy that the hottest thing in tongue. The lady say one more. By the way, so she
All
said
right.
come back as soon as it done with the problem. It come back for more
Oh,
oxtail.
Jesus
So
Christ.
I'll pay for your dish, all right?
What?
you
All
are
right.
pay you are pay
I'll
for the
pay
next
for it
dish.
tonight.
All right.
I'll pay for it, yeah.
Yeah, my one though. How my one or for she one?
For you one.
You pay my for my dish.
I'll pay for your oxtail, yeah.
All right, God, please tell the your people in that tomorrow at the conference, please.
Yes, sir. What time? I mean,
I
I'll be there. I'll be there at 12:31. You know,
yeah, well, I did it that time,
cause
lunchtime.
I coming out on the
well,
first, the
But
first one.
you have enough still tomorrow?
yeah, well,
Yes, sir.
Joe, I'll meet you over there.
Yeah.
Spoon and treat.
Yeah, but make sure you know order no. I know they pay for no liquor. I know they pay for no dessert.
No,
and
no,
they-
how
No, no,
they?
no, 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 no. Hold
Oxtail.
on. Wait. This is how the oxtail is sold.
Uh,
It's sold as a McDougal special.
Uh-huh.
Oxtail,
McDougal
Fanta,
special.
uh-huh,
a scone,
uh-huh.
and the black the chocolate moccasin.
Marcus, so.
$48.24.
All right,
It's
so
a package. It's a package.
It's a package. You can't get one without the other.
I only have a Belize bank card. Yo, they put the thing I take my card.
You never get
Rad.
no sympathy. Nobody will offer to pay for you bill, Spooner.
Yeah.
Ay,
Spooner,
ay, ay.
you think racism?
Can I substitute a moccasin for a Guinness stout?
You can't, the man gone already. You can't substitute nothing.
Nah, man. Let me tell you something.
Eh.
The moccasin drink way better than the Guineas.
So you don't want to substitute that. You should,
Nah.
all right, make we yeah, we do that. Spooner, what was race a part of this? Why you think they jump on you so roughly?
Well, people, my friends have been telling me that they figure that's what it is. I never want to go there, but a lot of people said that because I'm a white man, blah blah blah. I represent the rich people. Them. It's just it's. I see the situation from looking at the comments. This is a one black white thing. This is a rich poor thing. This is a one management staff thing. Sort of situation. So I am the evil guy. So this I saw some comments, but I didn't see the real racist ones that my friends were telling me about that upset them.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, because when after my friend who had called me and I spoke to you and I went to the restaurant and asked about what is going on, I called him back and he said, boy, you know what? I glad for hear that, because I wouldn't have seen Spooner as that kind of person. And to a person, everybody I spoke to, even Joe said, "Why I not see Spooner as that kind of person anyway, as being so mean-hearted from what they were saying." But at, at the same time, too, you know what? Again, I think we have to look at how much we are willing to overlook in wanting to be nice. We could be nice, but we have to be fair about things. In a case like that, where indeed the business was losing their money, they would have every right to have filed a charge if they had. We find out though that they did not. It was not the business who filed the charges. Certainly, it was not you, Spooner, who knew nothing about this. And you know, if the police took it upon their own, because they knew the lady and they knew her history.
Yeah.
Apparently, they did not know she had a history of being mentally unstable, but they know she had a history of defrauding businesses out of their money. That's the bottom line we're going on there.
I found one comment funny where the person said that for his ex-girlfriend catch sexual disease that Spoon has. Now you could believe that one day. The idiocy of some of these people.
They caught not with you. I hope
No,
not.
and I hope not. No.
Yeah.
You not got no disease.
Boy,
But some of the comments were outrageous.
yeah, they are outrageous.
Outrageous.
Yeah,
You know?
and people, but even to this evening, I saw people. Well, I'm not gonna give them my money. I'm
Yeah.
not going there. Most of them, though, and I'll tell you the truth, I bet you most of them that are saying that has never been to Spooners.
Yeah.
Would never have gone there
Exactly.
anyway.
They're not customers, no.
So,
But you know that his the oxtail has become a big thing now. He's been getting
boy,
a lot of orders. People been coming in all day for it.
but still a
It's a
good
good
thing.
promotion for Spooners.
That's what I'm saying. A good. I think, like I said, this could be flipped, and it could be that you could turn a negative into a positive.
That's right.
And I think he was wise to come up and explain himself. And well-spoken gentleman. I think I like God. I mean, and he's he does what, acoustics, I believe, for big
He's a
concerts.
promoter of music. He does promotions in America, reggae music and all that. He knew Bob Marley and all that. He know all the big artists in Jamaica.
And he brought a few of the artists to Belize, right?
Yep. He brought in also where they
I think he brought
you
Patra.
hear no noise. You wear headphones
Uh-huh.
and the band play or the DJ play, and only the people who have the headphones hear the music. You know?
Interesting. Yeah.
And then another comment, which this and I mentioned in him because he made it public, was this guy Joseph Bradley Jr. He said that he noticed all the people that support me are all uppity, high class people.
Well, that's like Joe and the guys there. I kind of slip in there because I support you on this one, Spooner. With all the and people see us go at each other and whatnot, but I've known you for many years.
Me and you could speak truth to each other and not get no offense to it.
Why? You know
people love the interaction between me and you. I've died off a lot and you have died off a lot, but we drop Willie hammer now and then, you know. But I don't got no problems with G Mac. I think what he's doing at his park, the Charlie Burton Park, is admirable, isn't it, Joe? That's a fantastic thing he's doing there. You know.
I asked the guy one time. He said, "Boy, I notice, some owner like they're not in high class society." I said, "Well, tell me what you mean by high class." He said, "Well, they want me things that they up there and they up there and whatnot." I said, "What class you they in now?" He said, "Well, by me, they're not low class." I said, "No, where they don't not low class." He said, "Why you know we have people who don't got much money or whatnot?" I say, "You know why you don't got much money? Because you want to stay in a ABC or Jamaican to standard one and standard two.
Step up,
You open on a higher class, try with
step
it
up,
up."
step up.
Yeah.
But see, and again, too many times we keep.
Talk about class in our society, which we they want to strive for a classless society. Yeah, that's what we're for. What make us sure go happen to people like you all you know these people with intent, maybe intentionally attempted adverse publicity. Unfortunately, backfire and they begin to give recognition.
Yeah.
But you know, there are people who wallow in their sorrow. I mean, they kind of they're proud of not be, and you don't have to be rich to have principles, to have decency about you, and that's the way I think more important. The money than another thing, but the how you are and how you deal with people. I'm happy to hear how that ended. That in fact it wasn't the establishment that was so mean. I think that we do have to look at ourselves and ask ourselves, are we really on the right side of things, or are we just getting emotional and we are on the popular side of things? Now, this will bring us to our other area here, the state of emergency, because this interesting.
Your
Now,
camera, G Mike. Your camera.
oh, why the camera drop? I hope it not broke. Hold
No, you're
on.
not broke. You could still see things. You just a point in the wrong direction.
And
I hope you do wear your drawers and pants because we might see something.
hey, wouldn't you be so lucky? If you want to see stick around after the show. I'm not gonna. Ain't no shame in my game. Ain't no slack in
Yeah.
my Mac.
I hope you
Yo,
got a microscope for look on it. Yep.
but man, you see it. You the start again, Spooner.
Aye, aye, aye. You know
Listen,
me. Don't let
Mine,
your guard
mine,
down.
mine is
Yeah.
another white boy again.
mine. Listen, the state of emergency, Joe, because I saw the opposition, and I'm concerned about this because the opposition again seems always just opposing whatever the government does, as opposed to standing firm and principle. They say the government should go ahead and pay the money. Apparently, there are two rulings from two separate courts. One court is saying the government shouldn't have to pay that because they're not really a violation. The second one is saying, yes, the government owe them money and was specific. Now, first of all, though, and I'm looking at the Constitution of Belize, and this is very important. In this part, 18, period of public emergency means any period during which Belize is engaged in any war, there's force or proclamation by the Governor General declaring that a state of public emergency exists, or there is a resolution of the National Assembly declaring that democratic institutions in Belize are threatened by subversion. Interesting, because it's saying what happens during a period of public emergency. But what is a public emergency? It does not define that in here, though it has been defined in other areas, because I know something that's unique to Belize. And obviously, the definition is a situation of national danger in which a government, get this now, suspends moral constitution procedures, normal constitutional procedures, in order to regain control. I am saying, Joe, that the question here is not, I don't see that the government can lose that case. I don't see that the government will pay that money. And you got a lot of bad man who stand to get some money, and this I know I have no authority as to whether to pay on it or not. So no come out of me with that. But the question here is not about that. The Constitution is suspended under a state of emergency by declaration of the Governor General. Now, this has nothing to do here with that again, but was the, and I said this before, I thought we jumped the gun when we declared the state of emergency. Isn't that what's in question here? Whether we should have declared it or not, and not what happens under it, because we're clear what happens under it, and it is anything. The state has far-reaching powers in that case.
Well, the way I understand it, there were two judicial reviews.
Right.
One of the judicial review had to do with these claimants saying that their rights were being violated through the due process that was not carried out under the SOE. So therefore, the claimants were not saying that the SOE was unconstitutional. They were not. What they are saying that the regulations by the SOE requires that you need to show reasonable cause why you are detaining me, arresting me and detaining me under the SOE. So the court ruled in their favor because the court is saying that the law enforcement did not show reasonable cause why they were to be arrested and detained. By simply saying that they are members of gangs, you cannot do that arbitrarily because this constitution is not, it's not suspending your rights in the sense that you're still entitled to process. Yeah.
It is. It does suspend your rights. It does.
No, what the constitution that I sent is doing, normally you will be arrested and you can be detained. And then they say, well, within a certain time you need to be charged.
Right.
Then you go to the court and you seek bail. Then grant your bail, fine. You get on bail and your case will come up. What it seems to me that the SOE is doing is to say that, listen, whatever the calamity is, the calamity could be a hurricane, it could be a pandemic like COVID, or it could be gangs and crimes being committed.
Right.
Evidently, in this case, it was about a certain area in the city where crimes were being committed.
Murders, actually, murders.
Murders, yeah, murders.
Mm-hmm.
So they decided to declare a state of emergency, which means now that the law enforcement, if it finds somebody who, in their opinion, based on the reasonable cause, evidence, to say they have good reason to believe that these people are gang members, or they committed a crime, or they are committing a crime, or they are about to commit a crime. So it's not that you can just arbitrarily pick them up and you, the police, just make the decision and no, they have to go through a process.
But Joe, I read to you the definition of a state of emergency.
Yes.
And this is what is a question. Aria is saying it, that she doesn't think the government should be able to discriminatorily and arbitrarily suspend rights. But the state of emergency does give government authority to do that.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
No.
It suspends the constitutional, normal constitutional procedures.
Yes, yes, but what she's saying, she's right.
Your abuse suggests what ought, not what is. What is that we have a law that a state of emergency suspends normal constitutional procedures. And that's a fact. That's not me saying that. That's the legal definition of a state. And it's signed by the Governor General. Now, the Governor General is the general of all generals. She is God on earth, really. She is in fact, on a state of emergency, the powers of God is suspended because they can go in a church and do what they want to do in those cases.
No, Mr. Chairman, that's not what the SOE is doing. The two judgments. One, there was a judgment which the claimant was saying that the SOE was violating the Constitution. The judgment was no. They found no evidence to show where the SOE is in conflict with the Constitution.
Right.
I read it and I agree with them. The other case is not that the SOE is unconstitutional. No, that was not the case. The case is that they did not apply the due process in accordance with the SOE when they arrested and detained them. And that's what the court found, that they didn't do that.
Joe. Again, though, you're jumping the definition of SOE. You're saying what is happening under the SOE, not what the SOE is. The core of the matter here, what is the SOE and how much powers does it give to the state? Now, it's next to martial law, you know. Martial law, that when the army take over, and then everything again stops. All other laws are put aside until they get things under control. I didn't think there was a need for an SOE, but having implemented an SOE and nobody objected to it, then you have to understand what you're faced with.
All right, let me go through it again with your that last statement that you made. You said that you believe that the circumstances at the time did not warrant an SOE. That's what
Right.
you said, right?
That's what I'm saying.
That's exactly what the claimants went to the court with. That the circumstances did not warrant a SOE. The court found that the circumstances under the Constitution did warrant an SOE.
What is the criteria for an SOE to be implemented? What has to happen?
Very good question.
All right. What they did was this. One, you got a state of war. Two, it could be like a pandemic.
Right.
Three, it could be other natural calamities like a hurricane, an earthquake.
Excessive crime could be one too, right?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Any calamity where the public interest is at stake, it's
Right.
under threat. So when they did it, I was around in 1961 when they did it. Because of the hurricane, they had to do it. And I saw a man got shot, actually shot them. They
Because
shot
they
him.
were looting. Yeah.
That's right. Because when they called on him, he was looking to run. And they shot him. And of course, it was within the law because it was a state of emergency. No.
So there you go now.
So what I'm saying then, that was that case where...
But Joe, stop there. Stop there. Because if a man could get shot
Hello,
and they get away with it, then can't a person get arrested and put in jail and you get away with that too under a state of emergency?
No, because it depends on what the regulation is saying, the SOE is saying.
Uh-huh.
This is
But there aren't particular SOE regulations. There is one regulation that governs the SOE.
now when this was done, it was done under letters patent because we never had the Constitution yet. But the same principle came forward into our Constitution. So all of it is saying, the court ruled against the claimant that the SOE was inconsistent with the Constitution. And I read the judgment and I agreed with the judge. I don't think that the SOE per se was inconsistent. So that came to me, yes, the claimant can appeal. That was in the favor of government. Now, the other case was a different case. The other case, the claimants felt that their rights were violated, not that they are against the SOE, but under the SOE, they did not carry out the regulations of the SOE, and they violated their rights under that. And to me, when I read it, I read the judgment. Coincidentally, I happened to be listening to the former commissioner of police, Chester, and I happened to be with a lawyer at the time. And I was very surprised. And I asked the lawyer, I said, but I read the two judgments. And I think what Chester is saying is not so. Now, he said that there is a conflict between the two judgments. It's not a conflict between the two judgments because there were two different claimants. And that is what apparently he missed. And the lawyer said, yes, he says he's missed it. He said apparently he did not understand the two judgments. They're not in conflict. And I repeat, one is saying that yes, the SOE, the judge is saying that the SOE is consistent with the Constitution. So the government won that case. In the other case, the people were claiming that they did not apply the SOE regulations. And it is by not applying that they violated their rights under the Constitution. And that
Who made the mistake? Whose fault was it?
The police.
All right. So you know what? Do they have a benevolent fund? The kind of case like that, should the taxpayers of the country to be burdened with that cost? The court is giving out a lot of money there,
Yeah.
and now we gonna have to pay it. We the
Yeah.
taxpayers of Belize.
You know
We
what I
always
want
end
to
up
pay?
paying. We always end up paying.
No man, but Mr. Spooner, it's not about whether we end up paying or not. The issue is this.
Yes, it does, because what pisses me off about that is those monies can go somewhere else to service, social
Yes,
issues,
man.
whatever.
But
But we always seem to be making mistakes
Mr.
because
Spooner, if
of
they
different
violate,
departments and they're not.
if the
Huh?
police violate your rights in your judgment, and you say, listen, I will seek redress before the court, and you go to the court, and you win your case. If you win your case, you can't conclude that the police was reckless, or the police was this and it caused the government to pay. We went to court against our minister, the company that we had in Placentia that we were doing business, and we won the two cases. We won the two cases, and the government had to pay the company a large amount of money. Now, who is to be blamed for that?
Well, I'd like to say something about the SOE because you all were talking about it. I don't know too much about the judgments made because I've been involved in some other things, but I know a little bit and listening to you guys. But to me, a state of emergency is what it is. It's a state of emergency. And me understand that my constitutional rights will be put aside because of the state of emergency. The government has to be responsible and make decisions to protect all of us. And so I know into this thing about I accept that constitutional rights will be violated as long as you know they kill nobody, as long as the government know they torture anybody and beat up anybody. But I believe that we constitutional rights sometimes have to be put aside for the benefit of all of us, and that's what a state of emergency is. And
Exactly.
a state of emergency has a criteria, like you were saying. We were all put in endangered. My
All right.
constitutional rights are messed up because I can't leave my house at 8 o'clock because I have to be home at bed. But I understand why they got this state of emergency, and I
Okay.
accept it.
Can I ask you the question?
Yeah.
You are saying to me that if certain members of the society is in fact violating the rights of the majority of us, evidently, we'll all agree that whosoever is violating our rights need to be brought to justice because they are violating our rights. Now, you make an SOE, and the SOE will in fact diminish to some extent certain rights. It will not diminish your rights in the sense that, well, if it's a curfew, and you say, well, everybody have to be in by 10 o'clock, then all of we have to be in. But it was not a curfew in this case, except for children, I think. What it was saying, that you can be arrested and detained for a period of up to 1 month, 2 months, or as long as they can extend it. So that is the extent to which it was diminishing your normal rights, in the sense that normally you go to the police bring charges against you. You go to the court, fine, you plead not guilty, then you'll seek bail, you get your bail, and a date is set for the trial. What they are doing now is that the SOE now says that once you have probable cause to believe that a person is violating that purpose of the SOE, you can arrest him and detain him. You know,
Can I ask you something? Why instead of the lawyers trying to find holes in these laws and all that to protect these criminals or whatever, why don't they make suggestions? Why don't they start reforms to help that these things don't happen like that?
They won't make money.
Finding holes.
I differ with you strongly. That's
They won't make money. They won't make money.
No. I differ strongly. You know what we are doing? I will not go against the rule of law and the benefits of law. No, if a lawyer malpractice, then that's a different matter. Now, to suggest the best judgment a person can get is, even if the lawyer happens to have information that he may be guilty, the best way to defend that person's rights is to have somebody defending him. And it's not to suggest that, yeah, I think I may know the man must have do the crime, but I'm going to defend him. That is not what the law is about. You should have a right to be defended.
It might not be what the law is about, but it's what the lawyers are about.
Yeah, but what you are doing, Mr. Chairman, and I don't into that kind of discussion.
That's all right.
No, when I say that, read Watergating on Main Street, written by one of the most distinguished American jurists, warning American citizens and professionals, stop the mixing up the profession with the professionals. You see, and let me begin with my own profession, law. You see, of course, it's a very noble calling. It's a very noble profession. And when we, the practitioners, violate the ethics, then you cannot condemn the law. You have to condemn that lawyer that was wrong. But to suggest that a lawyer goes to defend a person, knowing the person may be wrong, the lawyer should do it because that is how you want to get justice.
Let's see what Detroit is saying, because this is important. Look at the formal and gentrified areas. The common denominator is a collaborative effort of the community, government, and police enforcing the law. Now, I agree, and it will take that collaborative effort, but are we not giving the police basket for backwater, you know? If we are asking them to do what is necessary to restore order, but we tie their hand and say, well, you know what, you could do it, but every time you do something, we will have to carry you to court, and you're going to be the bad guy.
I don't agree with you, Mr. Chairman. And I think that's a serious misinterpretation of that law. It is not giving the police arbitrary. It cannot. No, it cannot. And under no circumstances, that is in a dictatorship. You cannot give arbitrary power.
But that's not a permanent thing. That one temporary situation.
Whether it is temporary or permanent, you cannot give arbitrary. That's in a dictatorship.
So then you can't put in a SOE then, because we have to redefine what SOE is.
No, go and read the SOE, this present proclamation, because they all differ. Each one got their own proclamation. And
so are you saying there are different SOEs, different definitions, different levels of SOEs? Is that what you're saying? Or is a state of emergency a state of emergency?
Mr. Chairman, if I am going to declare a state of emergency because of a pandemic like the COVID, that will carry some different kind of procedures and due process than when I am declaring a state of emergency because of the excessive murders and crimes.
So your answer is that there are different degrees.
That's right. It's not that one size will fit all. One SOE cannot fit all. It could be as a result of a hurricane.
Are you serious though? But isn't there a definite?
Is the law?
There's a definition of the term state of emergency, and it makes there's no variation to it.
Yes, there is a variation.
I missed that, and I was doing some research. I missed it.
No, you don't have to recite it. Let me tell you. If you have an SOE, let's say there is a hurricane tomorrow, and the city is devastated, you will go for an SOE, but the SOE will be different from the SOE now, because what
all right. Now you have to prove that to me. But listen,
you don't have to reason it.
Hold on.
Try to attack the gangs where they commit the crimes. That is different from trying to control people who may be going to pilfer and break into people's places. Or if there were a matter of COVID, if the pandemic, we had a SOE with the pandemic, we did. But the SOE is different from this one. You have to, because the purposes are different purposes.
The purpose is different, but the SOE itself is specific about what it is. Now, somebody was saying here that because they're black and poor, and they got bigger fish to fry, worse, bigger, and indeed there are other criminals out there. There's corruption. There's a lot of stuff. How do you look at that though? Because you were talking earlier about the broken glass theory, which is important to bring up, because there's a slippery slope you climb on when you start excusing away wrongdoing based upon whether the demographics of it.
Got it.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I think I'd like to take some serious look at some things being said. When you're having a state of emergency, evidently, those who are in fact may be violating that law will have to be a little bit more concerned, because they are in fact the people they are trying to get to. But depending on the circumstances, your rights will also be controlled. For example, if you have an SOE which has within it a curfew, and the curfew is saying by 8 o'clock, everybody have to be home. Everybody. Now that curfew will in fact apply to the 100% away in that area. But if it is not a curfew, it's only a case of where the police have reason to believe that you are involved as a gang member in a gang, and the police decide that I will arrest you and I will detain you. Then the burden is on the police. If the claimant decide to seek redress, the police will have to satisfy that it did act in accordance with the SOE, which was the due process. And in this case, the judge is saying that the police did not act in accordance with the SOE requirements. That's what the judge is saying.
Was there a defined requirement for that SOE that was put in place? That's what you're saying?
Yes, because the section of where the police cannot arbitrary, and he used the word arbitrary, he said that the police was arbitrary and high-handed.
You're talking about the judgment.
Yes, because the judge.
But that I know. But I'm asking you, because how far should a state be allowed to go to defend the rights and safety of its citizens?
That's a matter of discretion given the particular circumstances.
Who gets that discretion? Who gets to use that discretion?
Yeah,
Because Area is saying that the slippery slope is taking away constitutional rights without a good reason.
Very good. And I agree with that 100%.
All right, but who makes that determination? Because if the Governor General signs off on this SOE, and the SOE is saying that under this, the police can do that. Pick up people if they believe these are individuals who might, and not that they are doing it or even have done it, but who might indeed be perpetrators of these deeds.
They're
Suspected that they might be individuals who would kill somebody. You know?
And they do know who they are. The police do know who they are.
Mr. Chairman and Mr. Spooners.
Wait,
hold on. If the police know who they are, you don't need a state of emergency to go for them. You don't need it. There is a law already against gangs.
If they can't do it in a state of emergency, how are they going to do it normally?
Mr. Chairman, if you are saying in the state of emergency, where the state of emergency is in fact to prevent the gangs from committing the crimes, that's what this SOE was for. No, they have about 5-6 different gangs according to them. All I am saying to you is that if the police go and arrest some people and saying that they belong to gang A, gang B, and whatnot, that is not enough. You cannot do that. You have to get reasonable cause to show that these people are members of that gang.
Yeah.
You cannot come and arrest you, GT Mike because I don't like you.
You know what?
You can't. That's arbitrary.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, because somebody had said earlier that how would Spooner like it, then grab him and lock him up. But let's be honest. Let's be real. There are certain people in this community that we know would be prone to commit crime. There are those who we know that nobody's going to pick you up, Joe, based on the fact that they want to prevent crime, because you might, unless there are high level corruption we're going to talk about, but then I don't think you'll get catch with that anyway. The fact is that if you're doing something, if the police, without malice, without malintent, without wanting to without setting out to violate the rights of people, but genuinely thought that in doing what they did, they were going to prevent more murders from happening because the people were hollering, do something about this.
The police will win his case. And the police will win a case on the same principle that this distinguished judge, Jewish in the United States, said in the Watergate. And it remains now a part of case law. He says, professionals, we undertake not for infallibility, but for good faith. So the police exercise his discretion, given his training and his competence.
Right.
And he had reasonable cause in his judgment to believe that you should be arrested.
Right.
Now, the police goes to a court under normal circumstances and lose the case. That doesn't mean that the police was wrong. He wasn't wrong because he never undertook for infallibility. He made a judgment in the circumstances that he thought that there was reasonable cause.
Now, see,
When you violate the reasonable cause, this is where the court now comes in to determine whether the police acted arbitrarily, high-handedly.
yeah. All right. Listen.
What I'm saying.
And you see, this is where people like me and Aria Lightfoot part ways. She's saying they will not pick up certain high criminal family members either. Now, is that saying then that you should pick up nobody because they won't pick up any high family crime member? That you should just not do anything? Because yes, indeed, there are things that happen that should not happen. There are times when we see injustice being done, but because injustice is done in certain areas, should we then let it be just wide ranging and say, throw up our hands and say, let us do nothing? I think we should then try to address that is wrong, as opposed to using what is wrong to justify what else is wrong.
I agree with you, Mr. Chairman, except that I agree with what she's saying. Her thinking is manifesting a course of conduct that is unacceptable. Now, let's begin with what I am saying unacceptable. It is a fact. It's not that it is right or it's just that certain people in a society, this society, can offend the law and get away because of their position they hold in the society, either by political power or financial power. What she is manifesting now is that these are the things that evidently cause people to lose trust in the rule of law. Now, I agree with her why she thinks that way. But no, we cannot sit back and accept that because that is happening with the well-to-do, that there is something wrong with the law. It's not the law that is wrong. What is wrong is the application of the law. And that is important to us. This thing about, and I sense it too long now, happening with those who pretend or claim to be scholars and to be so educated. They quickly want to condemn politicians. They want to condemn lawyers. They want to accountants. They want to condemn doctors. I think we should stop that. I think we should look at all these professions, our noble callings. Now, if any particular person, whether either a lawyer, a doctor, an accountant, or a politician, abuse the office, then that person must then be condemned, but not the profession.
The problem with that is when you have a majority of those involved in that matter being improper, as in the case of politicians, where I don't know, except for Judge Price, and even he has been in some areas considered not always proper. But I wonder where is this politician that we should look to as some paragon of virtue and some example of what is right and
if
well.
you're looking for a politician like that, I would ask you not to look just to a certain era or people. Look to us generally. If I were to do, let me give an analogy, see if I could get over that point. If I decide I will dissect and analyze 10% of the rats within a 2-mile radius from the National Assembly, when I finish diagnose that 10%, and I do it in a statistically well-represented way, I can come to the conclusion that the majority of them are corrupt. So therefore, what is happening to us? There are too many of us, who in our different professions, our callings, or in our trade, we have become too self-centered. It says, what is in it for us? What is in it for I, not for us? So when the person becomes a politician, or he becomes a lawyer, or he becomes a doctor, he will go through with that same kind of subversion of the sense of values. It just happened that some of them goes into politics, but some goes into law, some goes into medicine, some goes into restaurants. So we are going to different trade. But if we come to the trade without a good sense of value and public morality, evidently we will not. It's not that the system is bad. It's not that. I keep repeating, and I said it earlier. You have a good system and you put bad people, it will fail. You have a bad system and put good people, it will succeed. It ends up, Mr. Chairman, at the end of the day, with who we are.
You know what? And it kind of like almost unfair with the politicians because I don't know if they're able to stay the straight and narrow when you have people demanding so much of them, expecting them to be able to take enough as long as they could get some. So the one thing where we are all guilty of allowing the systems in place to continue in the unfair way that they do. I believe we have to look at ourselves closer. And again, it goes right back to what we were talking about earlier with this lady going into the restaurant and ordering food and not wanting to pay. And everybody jumped on her side. We always jump, it seems, on the side of the wrongdoers. And then those who are trying to straighten it out and trying to make things right becomes the perpetrators and the wrongdoers become the victims. At some point, we have to look at this and change it.
I would think we should look at it, and we must look at it from this angle. There is a case, and I assume now that the woman was guilty of wrongdoing. I assume. Now look at the lot of publicity. How many of us may not be guilty of far more against the public funds or against your employer funds?
And what are we to do about that? Are we to just allow everything else and overlook everything else because
what we should be doing is it must be justice not for the few. It must be justice not for the many. It must be justice for all. So when that lady made the statement just now about if it was a higher person or a rich person, she's saying it out of her belief of what we have become. So she is right in that sense. And that's exactly why I think it's important to have taken note of what that lady said just now. That if it was somebody, let's say that person had gone in there, whether it was Spooner or not, and afterwards he found, oh boy, you know something? Oh shit, it's a Mr. So-and-so son. Man, make me left alone, man. I want to talk to you, pa.
Well, listen to me now, because that's exactly what happened even with this lady. When they realized who she is and that she wasn't quite stable, they said, well, left alone, man. And let her go. So that's exactly what happened, Joe. Is no. if it's okay with that, no, then I guess you say it's okay with everything else.
No. If subsequently there is evidence to show that the lady is in fact mentally challenged, then you have to judge her in a different circumstance. Because she's mentally challenged. You can't judge a person now. You can't
but that's not the point I was making.
I don't agree that she didn't commit that crime there because she was mentally challenged. She knew exactly what she was doing. I'm sorry, I don't agree with that at all.
But I am confused now because I thought that's what the chairman said.
That what?
That what? What did you think I said?
Mr. Spooner, I asked this question when that gentleman was on, and I seen that. I am asking if after all that was come known to everybody, was a lady a case of a person who is mentally challenged?
If after all is come to know, yes.
Yes,
we agree.
At the end of the day.
So we're all agreeing that she's mentally challenged.
No, but not that has no bearing on the argument we're making.
I might also want to ask you.
No. Because that has no value. That has no merit.
Hold on. We'll come to that next. I am asking you if you all, after all what have come out of this,
right?
Is there a conclusion that that lady is mentally challenged?
Yes, and how does that play into what you're saying? How does that support what point you're making?
The point I am making, that when a person commits what would have been a crime, and that person is mentally challenged, and it goes to court, the person can be acquitted.
Joe, that goes without saying. Yes. Nobody's going to argue that. The point is, no. No, but you're missing a very key. And don't get frustrated. You're missing.
Tell me
You're
what it is.
missing. Hold on. You know why you're it. You're missing something here. When the crime was being committed, nobody knew the lady was mentally unstable. Can you understand that, Joe?
Yes, I understand it.
And now that we know all the facts, we can look at it differently. But at that point, nobody who was jumping to her defense knew that she was mentally unstable.
And
Yeah.
also, they got from the media that the impression was that she was a poor old
The media
retired
wasn't
nurse
giving the
that
impression
was
that, yeah,
hungry.
she was a retired nurse. What are you, what is it
Thank
that,
you, Mr. Chairman, again, and Mr. Spooner. If at the beginning your perception or your perception, anyone know, of the lady was whatever she is, it is that perception of her you will make your judgment of what she did. No. Subsequently, at some point in time, it seems to me that the conclusion is that she is in fact mentally challenged. Hold on, I got finished now. Now the press apparently gave some wrong information from the beginning. It created maybe in the minds of some of the people that the poor lady is a nurse, the poor lady needed food, and they begin to build a story that are you all that were wrong for not helping her. So what I'm telling you, what comes out of this is that we each give judgment on our perspective. Some saw the elephant tail and thought it was a snake. Some saw the foot and thought it was a post. Some saw the elephant and thought that the rat they suffer from a glandular defect. The point I'm making with perception of what we see is what makes us make with judgment. That is so in our life. Therefore,
but that makes no sense what you're saying there,
but
Joe,
it makes a lot of sense to me.
because I imagine it does. The
Can I
point
say
is
something?
that,
My conclusion on her mental state was not based on what the con job that she was doing at Spooner's and other establishment. Her trying to kill her son, her trying to commit suicide, her trying to burn down establishments that she rented out. To me, that points to a mental condition. But
correct.
her going to my establishment and to other people's establishment, trying to get a free meal by conning people, that has nothing to
And
do
that
with
is where, Mr. Spooner, when the matter should have been investigated immediately.
yeah. I
Because
was hoping that when if she
see
didn't
that she was
not
going
such
from
a
she
person,
see that she was going from place to place.
yeah.
If they had intervened then, they may have found out that the woman is mentally challenged and therefore we should do something for her.
Well,
Uh,
well, probably the other institutions didn't want to press charges or didn't want to
not only that,
volunteer to give a statement. Our establishment was probably the first one because of circumstances, tourist policeman intervening and then asking for a statement. They cooperated because they're probably law-abiding citizens, so they cooperated, but they never pressed charges. But I'm saying that act that she did, that not due to no mental condition. I know who are mentally disturbed when they come into my place. I can tell who they are.
if
Was not mentally disturbed.
if you
Mentally
listen,
challenged, whatever. Yeah.
if you listen to the brother, she's saying that he thinks she's in denial. She doesn't think there's anything wrong with her, and when she's dealing with people on a regular basis, there's nothing wrong with her. If you listen to the interview that she gave to the TV, she was rational. Except there's some parts of it where you could realize, maybe, but at the end of the day, I've heard seeing people go off like that sometimes. So I think that she was not, she it gonna come, as people say, and that's it. Listen, we're out of time. Jeremy, I want to thank you for coming on. There are places in Belize, and somebody has sent me this is important. Mental health Belize.
Yeah.
There are places that help people like these. So the bottom line, and I think what can come out of this is that when we see people, we see something, we see something. We see somebody in a situation like this, try to get them help, refer them to somewhere, contact the authorities, because there are too many people out there who are suffering from mental illness, and it's not a good thing. Um, Any final words, Jeremy? I want to thank you very much for
Well,
joining
no,
me.
I enjoyed being on. I was a little bit apprehensive at the time, at first, but then I said, let me do it. You told me the value in doing something like this. I have my own opinions of what happened. It may not be, they may look like I'm cold and so on, and that I don't have any empathy for people, but I saw a situation, I made my opinion on it, and I stick to that. Nobody will turn me back on that.
And you have a right to that. You have a right.
And I am not a person who doesn't turn my back on people. I recognize people sometimes when they're suffering, when they're genuine, and so on. I also recognize people when they're not genuine. So I've been jilted out of a lot of money. I've helped one person with $5,000. I heard another person with $2,000. And you know what? You don't hear from them again. Then gone. They gypped me out of. They conned me. So I've got a very bitter taste in my mouth. Sometimes that happens, and so now I watch very carefully how I help people and so on, because I want my money that I give to people to be spent well.
That is fair.
Yeah, and that's how I run my life and so on. I don't help everybody, but I help people when I can. And this is a sad situation. It exposed to me how dangerous Facebook can be. It can be very good, like you pointed out, but it can also be very dangerous. And how people make judgment without getting all the facts. And I'm glad that you gave me and Garth the opportunity to come on here. I put out my statement on Facebook about the situation and clarified it, because a lot of people didn't know what was happening in the background, and they made a conclusion that the management at Spooners was cold, insensitive, and unsympathetic. They had no sympathy for this lady who was characterized as being a poor old retired nurse and so on, and we found out that was all not true. So,
I was impressed also with the statement that Garth put out. His establishment, Spoon, has really put out a nice statement, and I think that has to clear it up in people's mind that there was nothing.
I think it's over now. I think it's over.
I think so.
That Facebook has gone quiet. People have realized they made a mistake, jumping to rash conclusions.
I hope everybody understands. Joe, thank you again. You're good? Everything all right?
Yeah, I will suggest that tomorrow we go to Spooner's place and have that oxtail.
That sounds good. That sounds good. Spooner, remember now, we got you up on this one, right? Folks,
what did I say I was going to do? I forget. My memory.
Pick up the bill. Pick up the bill. It was clear. No ambiguity there. Now, let me also say, please, let us not forget the injustices that happened in the Middle East. Please, for God's sake, let us pray that this is stopped sooner than later, because it has gone on too long.
Yeah, I've been called anti-Semitic because I don't agree with what they're doing with Gaza. I think the Israelis have made their point from October 7th last year. What happened? They've made their point. They need to be more humanitarian.
How hungry can you get? How hungry can you get? And women and children.
I wake up in the morning sometimes, say how lucky I am here in Belize, where we do not suffer these kind of things that are going on around the world. And to think I have my running water, I have my electricity, I got my internet, I got my TV. These poor people, where are they sleeping? Where are they living? Where do they bathe? Where do they get water? Where do they get food? It's horrific.
Yeah.
And
we need to be grateful.
The Jewish people of all people to be doing this.
Who went through that themselves.
Yeah, man.
Who declared never again.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, they're the ones doing it, no? Listen, CY, we're done here.
Good night, everybody. Good night.
Yeah. You have to wonder about your movements. If you is a client, in the shadows, samurai, more dollars. We don't care how jump to jump, sit to your head. We don't care how high you high, sit to your head. We don't care how much bills to the top, so you better stop paid. Samurai more dollars, while end your glory days. We don't care that the government inspire your man, sit to your head. With or without your material, when it's in your face, it's white like mayonnaise. I'm amazed at the way some of these fools they behave. I'm so cold, I belong in trade. We know they take no shots. We know you're not in the mood. so no start. Big mouth, no have no heart. Run left, you leave brother when the firing start. We no care who for fault, press the fault. Don't try to stop it on my way out of the money vault. Thing will make you pop a lick, cut apart. Clean up in a RT, game out. Look at how jump to jump, sit to your head. Look at how high you high, sit to your head. Look at how much spill to the pot, no better stop gauge. Samurai more dollars, while in your glory days. Look at the government spy your man, sit to your head. With or without your material, when it's in your face, it don't right like mayonnaise. I'm amazed at the way some of these fools they behave. I'm so cold, I belong in the trade. When you say that woman you like beat, never experience real heat. Just you will need you. Investigators left the wonder that who do it. Make you feel like you get wet, like sing a kite the barracks pop way. Remain just left there. No joking, samurai, no say. Look at how jump to jump, sit to your head. Look at how high you high, sit to your head. Look at how much spill to the pot, and you better stop gauge. Samurai more dollars, while in your glory days. Look at the government spy your man, sit to your head. With or without your material, when it's in your face, it don't right like mayonnaise. I'm amazed at the way some of these fools they behave. I'm so cold, I belong in the trade. We no in a no competition, just no try to explode on my mission. When I come to survive, I come to thrive in a billion. Iron like a lion in a giant head collision. No vex with me, cause they can't see your vision. Prepare yourself. Sell off Coliseum, legacy cemented, build a museum. See all the haters, build a mausoleum. Look at how jump to jump, sit to your head. Look at how high you high, sit to your head. Look at how much spill to the pot, and you better stop.